Good morning. It is Wednesday, September the 4th. I think that's right. I could be wrong. It could be the 5th. I honestly don't know. Anyway, conversation with Mill this morning that sparked the idea to do a video log. And what we're going to talk about today is warm-ups and how to warm up effectively. What I think Mel and I would agree on, our philosophies are a little different, and I think that was the challenge for her with me working with her, is that it was going to take her out of some of her comfort zone, and that it would give her some perspectives that perhaps she's not had in the past. So it's a challenge for both of us. And what we have learned is that she and I both strongly agree that not only is training not a one-size-fits-all, neither is a warm-up routine or how you warm up. And a lot of those things can be predicated by what the person's needs are, how they're built genetically, or if, has there been an issue. Sometimes I'll have guys that are in their 30s that injured a shoulder in high school football, and it is something that has become chronic for one reason or the other. But what we both strongly agree on is that telling everyone how to warm up a specific way, just because that's the way I do it or somebody else does it, is not necessarily effective. And that's something you're going to hear me say a lot if you listen to a lot of these video logs or read any of my writing. I understand the right and wrong in the world we live in, but as it pertains to strength and as it pertains to training, it's not necessarily what's right or wrong or what is, ultra technically accurate. It's what is effective, and more what's effective at that, particular given moment or span of time. As you become more advanced in training and in competition, your body composition will change. The stress of just training, no matter how right we are, there's nicks and bumps and bruises along the way and tweaks, even if there's not an injury. So that may require you to add something and or even subtract something. So it's always going to be evolving and changing, and that's really the secret to warming up and training. Is create an atmosphere of being intuitive with the lifter, and then finding what is working and adjusting and being willing to make those adjustments. So one of the struggles that Mel has is, I'll give you two examples. She has tight hamstrings, and so she will warm them up even on upper body days. Now, it would seem counterintuitive to waste the time, so to speak, to warm up the hamstrings, but it helps her perform better. And even if it's just psychosomatic, so to speak, if she feels like it helps her to warm up her hamstrings and she performs at her best level, then I'm going to go with, hey, why don't you make sure you warm up your hamstrings? One of the things that I've obviously noticed in watching her videos is her first rep, when she's, even during sets, even some warm-up sets, that first rep, and you've seen this a lot in the gym, I'm sure, where in the loading phase of a bench, and in today it was the decline, that first rep, the loading phase is super slow, get to the touch point, push up, it looks awkward, and then the second rep on, they just knock it out. Well, and that's generally the case with Mel. So she has some really, really tough bicep tightness. So one of the things that I told her to start doing and to try is hammer curls. Now, we do hammer curls as part of her upper body assistance, but it's also a great warm-up tool. Obviously, it's going to be very, very light and the reps are higher because we just want to push some blood. Now, why are we doing hammer curls? In that instance, what generally happens is, especially with squatting and with benching, is in benching, the biceps and the brachialis, the tendon in there, in between the bicep and tricep. Again, I'm oversimplifying. is an antagonistic muscle. So it's one of those that it's like when you're benching, you're also using the lats, which we tend to associate with a pulling motion, but it's an antagonistic muscle group to pushing with the chest and the triceps. So I always suggest warming up with some hammer curls, and it pumps blood in the area where the brachialis is, along the elbow, and even close to the ulnar nerve, and I'll get to that in a minute. But again, for especially someone that has had an injury in the past, and this is the case with Mel, and sometimes people have tendonitis just by nature of use. We're all very, very different. So the thing I suggested for her was do a little muscle rub. You have to be careful with rolling out stuff because you can create trauma. So rolling out is a great. I personally I don't roll anything out, but that's just me. That's my preference. I found that I don't need it, and it's hard enough when I get down on the floor to get back up. So I'm not doing it. But we have rolling pins and stuff like that for the people that have, like my Missy that you guys met. She's pretty tight. She's a very tight athlete, and I'm just not that tight. So going back to Mel, one of those things I suggested was a little bit of muscle rub to heat that area up, brace the elbows. You'll be fine. You're not going to become super dependent on them, because the only time that we have to have them uncovered is when we can compete. So in training and even in warm-up at the meet, I wear them during the meet until I have to take the sleeves off to go out on the platform. So we want to do everything we can to keep the joint, to keep the muscle tissue and the connective tissue healthy. And then again, pushing blood in there with the warm-up, it seems counterintuitive, and she even said, I never even thought of that, but that's why we always need to be evaluating. Give it a little bit of period of time. When you're done training or while you're warming up, what are areas that give you issues? I have really big traps, and that's because I've trained them, for all the different sports that I've done. So I have learned that even on all days, even on off days and auxiliary days, I will do neck work. It's never heavy, it's high rep, but I'm telling you, after 3 sets of 20 with just a medium amount of weight, it flushes blood into my upper back and neck, and I feel better. So if I feel better, I'm going to perform better. And so that's what I'm trying to get at. So look at your warm-up routine, and I'm going to try to cut this where it's not super long or longer than it already is. And look at ways that you can warm up effectively, and let's not worry so much about right or wrong. We don't want to do anything stupid. We don't want to spend more time warming up than we're training. So there's places to fit it in. And usually I'll do a round of warm up, and then I start, like on my upper body day, I'll do a set of 15 with the bar, sometimes 2, or a set of 25 with the bar, and then I move on to my next weight. And while I do that, I'll go do a set of pull downs, a set of shrugs, and a set of neck. And then I go back and I do a set of warm ups, and I'll do side raises, hammer curls, and some sort of band extension for my triceps. Find out what's going to work for you. What are your troublesome areas if you've got a tweak or an injury, and then make the adjustment. So what I hope is this video will spark some commentary and discussion, and let's look at what you do for warm-up. Let's look at how do we create something that's timely but yet effective, and see how we can help you with that. I think what Mel found out right away is after she was done training, her biceps felt so much better after doing the hammer curls. So, and basically what a hammer curl is, it's a dumbbell curl. We do them simultaneously. We don't alternate them, and I'll get into that another time. But instead of the supination and pronation, basically twisting the wrist, you're just holding it like you would hold a hammer, and that's the curl motion. Now I talked about the ulnar nerve and all that. One of the things you can do to help that is very light. I have Like the smallest barbell I have, it's fixed, is 10 pounds and a 20 pound, and then it goes up in 5-pound increments to, I don't know, I'm not sure where, I don't remember. But a lot of times what I'll do on auxiliary days, just to help with recovery, it's kind of a prehab, rehab, active recovery. I'll take a 20 to 25 pound barbell and do a set of 20 reverse curl, upwards of 3 sets, and just pump blood into that area, into the forearm. If you notice, I've got pretty big forearms. That's obviously from the weightlifting, but genetically, I've just got big forearms. My son has big forearms, and my dad, who I never saw lift weights ever, had huge forearms from all the work that he did. So that's an area that, while it's big, I have to spend a little bit of time with prehab, rehab movements and keeping that area healthy. So take a look at what you're doing to warm up. Let's make sure that it's what you need and it's effective, and that it's not impeding progress because you're spending an inordinate amount of time doing it. And again, I'm not looking at what's right or wrong, is what is effective for the athlete at that given period of time. All right, questions, comments. All right, have a good day, guys.